I love making wedding cakes, and when I can make a wedding cake for a special friend, it means even more to me. I've been working madly away already, so I have 3 tiers of this 4-tier wedding cake already done and cooled. So I just have the 8-inch tier left to make. I'll start by getting my pot ready to melt the white chocolate. I'll get my pan ready while that's heating up. A little sprinkle of flour over the greased pan. And just a little parchment to make sure everything doesn't stick. I've got a great trick for building a circle of parchment without having to draw on it. I just measure from the middle of the pan to the outer edge. And I open that up and I've got a circle that fits inside the pan. These look like regular white chocolate chips, but it's actually baking or couverture chocolate, which you need to use in a cake recipe. It's 2/3 of a cup of unsalted butter. I bake with unsalted butter because that way I can control how much salt I'm putting in the recipe. And 1 1/3 cup of sugar. When I melt white chocolate, I like to pull it off the heat before the chocolate's completely melted, just so the chocolate itself doesn't get too hot. With the mixture going, I add the eggs 1 at a time and scrape down the bowl after each time I add the egg. It's important to get right to the bottom to pull up that butter-sugar mixture to make sure it gets incorporated with the egg well. I'm really looking forward to this wedding. I know Jen, I know her family, and I know a lot of the guests too, so it'll be nice to catch up with some people there. 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Now to sift the dry ingredients. 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour. And 2 teaspoons of baking powder. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And then the very last thing, 1 1/4 cups of 2% milk. Now I'm alternating my dry ingredients, the flour, with the milk in small additions. I always start with the flour and end with the flour. I find it contributes to a nicely textured cake batter. I wait until the flour is almost fully incorporated before I add the milk. And for that last addition, the melted chocolate. This cake batter looks beautiful. As soon as I add that white chocolate, it just smooths right out. It's so silky. Another reason I love this recipe so much is that it bakes up beautifully level, which means it's easier for me to slice and fill, which is what I have to do after this bakes for about 45 minutes.